our founder flames. This right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum.
Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight, your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.
The 12-dimensional shield building technique. My declaration of intention is to serve my source. I commit to serve my highest power fully, completely, and totally. I am God. I am sovereign. I am free. Prepare for meditation. Visualize and feel your connection. Imagine a platinum six-pointed star, the Star of David, in the center of your brain. As you move that six-pointed star, your Merkaba star, down the center of your body, see it passing through each chakra and releasing from in between your legs. Send your six-pointed star to the center of the earth, to the Earth Star. As you connect your star with the Earth Star, feel unconditional love and unity for all. As you connect to the 12th dimensional platinum light, feel that light building momentum through your entire body. As you connect and fill up with the platinum energy, see your six-pointed star returning back to you, and let it stop at a position 12 inches beneath your feet. As you focus on your six-pointed star, it will start to spin. As it spins, it will build momentum and create a platform of platinum silver light. This is your 12th dimensional shield. As the shield strengthens, it will build an upward movement of a pillar of platinum white light. Allow that pillar of light to build to a position about 3.5 feet above your head. Feel and sense your entire body encased in the 12th dimensional platinum white light. Allow every cell and every pore of your body to be radiating in the platinum white light. As you focus again in that position, 12 inches beneath your feet, visualize your six-pointed Merkaba star. Now draw your Merkaba star up through the center column of your body, letting it pass through your chakra column and releasing out of the top of your head. Send your star to a position 3.5 feet above your head. As your Merkaba star again begins to spin, see it create a shield at the top of your 12th dimensional pillar of light. Feel yourself fully encased from top to bottom in your 12th dimensional platinum shield. Now multidimensionally ground your shield by focusing on your 6-pointed star at the position 3.5 feet above your head. You now are going to send your Merkaba star out towards the cosmic heart of our universe, towards Andromeda. As you connect to the core of the universe, allow the crystal star to emanate its connection to you. As you feel protected and supported in your 12th dimensional pillar of light, say within your heart, "Thank you, God, and thank you, Ascension Guides. I am unity." And so it is.
Boy, oh boy. Thank you to Lisa Renee. Shout out to Lisa Renee for her such beautiful work and devotion to service. That was the 12-dimensional shield building technique originated or anchored in by Lisa Renee, a wonderful galactic pioneer who has gave us many, many dimensions of information when it comes to this universal time matrix that we are a part of. Whew, boy. What a week it's been so far. Talking about getting to the root of humanity, the root chakra, talking about our survival center, our foundation to our material life. And then yesterday we talked about the sacral chakra, the ever so potent and the ever so beautiful and valuable sacral center. You know, understanding boundaries around our sexuality, understanding how to eliminate, dissolve away the pain body and the pain that we are holding on to from our memories and traumas, as well as how to bring open more of that inner child and allow that creativity to be honored and expressed as well. So, along with these different chakras that we have dove into this week, we have also been co-led by our wonderful sister and co-star, the co-star Rika, Phinix Returns. So she will be continuing with us in the third chakra of the chakra system that we are building upon, and that is going to be the solar plexus chakra. So before we deep dive and bring our wonderful sacred sister, Phoenix Returns, well as any stories and wisdom as well, I wanted to go ahead and bless us. And I wanted to bless us with a little bit of sound healing. So I have my solar plexus singing bowl here. Good old solar plexus here. If you're just arriving, please get yourself comfortable and enjoy the vibrations as I'm going to do a little sound therapy for us and help invoke and activate the solar plexus a little bit. So as we go through these frequencies, I just want to give you the reminder of taking a moment to slow down and pause, to really take this moment and this time and space wherever you are, whether it's in the rising, the afternoon, the nighttime, watching this live or on a replay. I would just like to really invite you into a moment of solitude. How many of us may not get solitude in our daily life? You know, we have children to take care of. We got the schooling system, especially with school coming back in the United States. We have work life. We have maybe hard relationships. And then maybe we have things in the past that we're still holding on to with fears of the future. So with that being said, I wanted to bring the intention of sound therapy today into this space. And I'm going to play a little bit of the solar plexus frequency singing bowl before we dive in and go into the education on this energy center for you guys today. And then after we begin our education, we'll be joined by our wonderful guest, our sacred sister, Phinix returns, as we'll dive into the gene key of the solar plexus. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. And you can sit, you can lay down, you can be anywhere that you are in this moment to receive these frequencies. Just allow yourself to be open-minded, open-hearted, and to just allow yourself to feel and sense the vibrations. So I'm also going to kind of relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, and just focus on breathing. Drawing in the breath, breathing in, drawing the breath through the stomach, through that gut, and breathing away any density, alkalizing our energy field with every breath, lightening the solar plexus. You may begin to feel warmth. You may feel security and illumination. You may feel gut stimulation. Continue to breathe and lean into this frequency. 528 hertz is the frequency of the solar plexus. 528 is commonly known for regeneration, upliftment, and mood enhancement. right. If you may, just feel free to take a couple more deep breaths through that solar plexus. And I'm just going to close out this little sound session with some Palo Santo. Go to Palo Santo. And again, just be open to the frequencies energetically, spiritually. Take another breath if you would like, and just take in the Palo Santo at your own free will. Welcome in, Sister Kat. Good to see you. Palo Santo, for everyone out there, is a beautiful, you call it. It's along the lines of the usage of sage, brings that cleansing, that reset, that purification energy field, and it also kills negative bacteria and things of that nature as well. Great reminder today of just taking things slow, taking things methodical, and being intentional with our being. Mm. Some of us may feel we have a lot to do today, or that life is a lot right now. And this is your moment to be able to slow down, to take what's a lot and bring it into grounding. I see someone in the comments, Baba Jubal, make your bed up. Background is as important as foreground. Well, good brother, I appreciate your opinion, your insight, and welcome to the live. But as we are in our solar plexus today, I do not need any opinion on my setup, as my bed is made. So thank you for trying to be my dad while we're here live. But my bed is made, and this is how I have my bed. I don't have a comforter. I use a blanket by itself, and my blanket is folded, and my bed is made. It literally just has wrinkles in it. So thank you. And I hope you can enjoy this live for what it actually is for. Oh, man. Great to see the elders in the space, though. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your effort. My bed is made. But anyhow, continuing on with today's episode in the solar plexus. My name is Marcus ChristoLight. I am the founder of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, as well as the Sacred Kingdom community. I am a multifaceted, energetic, quantum level practitioner. I can help people with understanding the light body, as well as give people natural and herbal-based direction on ways to bring balance to the mind, body, emotions. Along with that, I do life guidance where I help people with their daily patterns and their habits and addictions. And I'm also someone that can access the Akashic very naturally, as I do help many access their star codes and their lineage beyond the flesh. So that is a little bit about myself, what you guys can reach out to me for. I do things online as well as in person. I also host retreats, and I also offer my productions for anyone around the world as well. All self-taught, all intuitive, all authentic with my higher spirit. So today, We are talking about the solar plexus, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over a little bit of the solar plexus according to ascensionglossary.com. And again, this is Lisa Renee. Lisa Renee did the 12D shield building technique that we listened to in the beginning. And this is her glossary of interdimensional information. So we have the third chakra. The third chakra is also known as the solar plexus. And this chakra, it governs our third dimensional identity structures. The 3D identity structures are the three mind matrices of our subconscious, instinctual, and conscious reasoning minds. And then you can click on the three layers of the ego. So as the three stations of identity merge, the triad bodies combine into one 3D energetic grid level of a body. Together, they form and create a horizontal energy bodies. This formed horizontal shield is akin to an energetic completion of the 3D experience for the personality and the 5D identities of the soul matrix, and its frequencies start to pour into the energy bodies. This energy center has the attributes of our consciousness that governs our mental functioning and issues around power, control, the freedom to be oneself, and our chosen career. The greatest need of the chakra is to live in an organized world where everything is orderly and disciplined, to be an intellectual and to be an individual. We are leaving human order for the higher expression of our divinity, our soul, which has no reasoning and linear sequence to satisfy the ego. So this sets a world stage of confusion for many people unaware of what is transpiring with the consciousness shift. Hydration check for everybody. Make sure you guys drink clean water today. This center is the foundation of the ego filters and its personality, and where we carry anger, hostility, rage, and issues that arise when we feel threatened in our personal power or ambition. This area is a clearinghouse and receptacle for repressed emotion. You know, when it says that, I think about like that feeling I get of like anger and jealousy that might conspire inside of you unconsciously when you see someone that is maybe in the same passion as you, or you see someone that has the same type of creativity as you, and then unconsciously you get triggered by them because you become slightly idolized of them, or you become slightly envious. You know, that's an example of the shadow of the solar plexus, is when as a human being we just have that raw feeling come up of insecurity, envy, jealousy, because we see others in the same field as us and they're quote unquote more successful, or they're getting more attention for what they do. And then what can happen is we can have this shadow aspect of our solar plexus get triggered, and that shadow aspect can result into envy and jealousy and things of that nature. And we all experience that at one point in our life. You know, we'd be in ultimate denial if we said that we had never experienced a single spark of envy or jealousy in our whole life, especially as a child. So that's just an example. Continuing the solar plexus center, this is related to the transition from base to higher states of emotion. So it's saying this is the transition from being an animalistic, unconscious, pure energy and bringing that up into your higher states of emotion where you're becoming conscious and in self-responsibility of your energy. So as well as the exchange of energy, assimilation, and digestion, this chakra supplies the energy to all digestive organs, such as the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, and liver, which play a valuable role in digestion and the conversion of food matter into energy for the body. Digestive problems come out of imbalances or damage held in this chakra. Its function is controlled by the third seal of the chakra crystal key grid on the second level of the light body. And it's pretty cool that she actually mentioned the third seal here, because we're actually going to be talking in depth specifically about what the third seal is in context to the system of the 7 seals. And that ties in with the gene keys, which our divine sister Phinix is going to be blessing us with here in just a moment in this live. Grand day, my queen. Good to see you, Rhonda. Welcome in, everyone. Enjoy. Grab your hot beverage, your cacao, your coffee, your tea. Get your good breakfast or brunch food and get ready to enjoy. We are just getting started. It's going to be a beautiful episode. So the crystal key is a primary crystal key that relates to certain bioenergetic functions in our bodies. The main physical upgrades will be focused on a improved cardiovascular and pulmonary system functioning and the ability of the body to convert nutrients into usable energy management for the body. This means we may experience radical changes with our food consumption, and how our bodies convert food into energy. And I actually cannot wait to talk about that a little bit more with our wonderful sister Phinix, because diet and food has a major key in our ascension process. And as we're starting to touch on, you guys are going to kind of learn and reflect on with us how our body is so multidimensional, and that as we continue to activate parts of our dormant DNA and we begin to realign and clear the balance of our mind, body, emotion system, you'll notice that the more your frequency becomes higher within your embodiment, it's going to be a lot harder and it's going to be difficult to be able to consume and hold on to the foods such as heavy processed meats, heavy refined sugars, as well as mucus causing and blockage causing foods. And we're going to touch on that because the body is multidimensional, and it's kind of difficult to explain, but the embodiment of the body depends upon the volume of the density that we are putting into our system. Oh, and welcome in. Welcome in, mother. So, as we go through our ascension process, our body will require less consumed food as our body uses light source as a nutrient to convert energy for our bodies. So this is why you can actually do a lot of chakra balancing and light body activating, and you can actually be fed by your inner electromagnetic energy. And then that inner prana, that inner electromagnetic energy, which a lot of yogis and ancient traditions know about, they are able to activate the prana that can feed their organs and feed the crystalline compounds throughout the human vessel. And that's when you become, kind of more immortal from the outside world and needing to depend upon food and things of that nature, because now you're running off of your light body system. And when your light body system is functioning properly and it's fluid, it's automatically giving the health the well-being and the empowerment that your organs and body parts need in order to function in its primary power. That's how deep this really gets when we start going within and activating our own internal system. The prana can literally feed the organs. The prana can literally activate the crystalline compounds and chemicals that automatically repair, empower, and activate your bodily parts. But, that's why they just want to tell you that stuff's all woo-woo, You're just a human flesh. Worship and obey. Let's see here. So again, we'll have to consume less food physically the more that we activate the light in our body. So when the crystal star is released, it also begins to build the 3D layer functions of our Merkaba, which begins to merge to the next level of our soul family identities, the past and future lifetimes. So then it also talks about the crystal star seal also unlocks upgrades in the etheric nodal complex structure, which is the energetic blueprint for our physical body's central nervous system. So the nodal complex is basically the meridian lines that stream throughout your vessel. These nodal complex, the meridians of our body, which you can know in Chinese medicine, they are what governs the flow and the ability for the prana or for the life force, the crystalline life force, to be able to flow throughout your being and feed the areas of your body that need the life force. And then this is the main component to the physical manifestation of your central nervous system. And if you notice, one of the biggest things in this world is how many people have a dysregulated nervous system. And how many of us understand that it's intentional that things are being thrown at our nervous system every day. Those that are aware of this, they understand the importance of the nervous system. So it talks about the house of the egos, how we want to avoid judgment and holding on to criticism. And then it talks about upgrade to the solar plexus in 2009. All right. So that is ascensionglossary.com with Lisa Renee. Now I will go over a few of my notes of the more in-depth details, and then we'll have our wonderful sister join us. So again, the solar plexus is located in the center of the abdomen. The color is yellow. The frequency is 528 hertz for those that enjoy sound healing. And I'm actually drinking some tea that correlates to one of the herbs for the solar plexus. And that is roasted dandelion detox. Dandelion is a phenomenal herb that helps resonate for the balance of the solar plexus. So again, this contributes to the organs and body parts around the stomach, intestine, gallbladder, liver, pancreas, and spleen. And then the attributes that you activate through this portal or through this gateway is willpower and inner strength. It's your ability to feel innate confidence. When we say confidence, we're talking about the innate confidence that you don't have to prove anything to anyone, and that you also don't need anyone to tell you who you are, but you are ultimately just being, and you feel the love of being and being yourself, and you allow the beauty of that to flow through you naturally. Then this is also self-esteem, our gut instinct, the house of the ego, which the ego is just your self-identity. It's the way you identify with the world and relate to the world. There's this whole thing about the ego and like, oh, you need to demonize the ego and all this stuff. When really it's about balancing the ego. Train your ego to have good programming. Give your ego healthy experiences. You know, the ego basically only knows what it experiences. And as a responsible sovereign being, you're kind of like the caretaker or the parent to your own ego. And it comes down to your responsibility of where is your ego? How are you identifying with yourself in this world? And that gets deep in itself. And then this is also our self-control and decision-making center. So with this, the solar plexus being the third chakra is also the chakra of action and willpower. That means it is our chakra where we have the choice, where we can either impulsively act out of our solar plexus in our lower nature, and that can result into an impulsive experience where now we may be trying to control things or we're just being reactive. But then the gift of this system that we have is that we can take that energy that we feel at the solar plexus and we can actually take a breath. We can do some movement. We can do some mental exercises and we can draw that energy we feel in that solar plexus and we can draw it up to the heart. And once we draw it up to the heart, then we start feeling the emotional connection of unification with our brothers and sisters outside of us. And instead of impulsively acting out of the solar plexus, we consciously act and bring it up through our heart. So some blocks and overactivations that can manifest as a human being when it comes to the solar, holding on to consistent judgment or criticism, as well as allowing others' judgments and criticism to take form in ourself. Low self-esteem, a loss of will to live, digestive issues, ulcers, hypoglycemia and diabetes, gut pains, quitting on projects or on actions, identifying extremely with the world as who you are, depending on others to determine your worth and who you are, and then feeling powerless over your own life. Overactivations, egotistical and being full of self, seeing yourself as the only important being of life, commanding of others, possessive, overtly competitive, and overtly ambitious. And of course, it's okay to be ambitious. You know, we have to have ambition as a human being in order to want to create something or to experience something. But it's all about balance. You know, once you go into the extreme polarity of ambition, that's when you start getting consumed by it. And now you're starting to be like, oh, well, it's money over other humans. I don't care what it takes for me to get to the top of this ladder. I'm going to step on people's toes. I'm going to do what I can. And if I end up, you know, having to cut this person off, hey, so be it. Who cares? I'm going to continue to make more money. You know, that's being overtly ambitious. Some crystals that you guys can use for the solar. You have tiger's eye, citrine, sunstone, pyrite, yellow jasper, calcite, and tourmaline, fire opal, gold obsidian, yellow smithsonite, yellow sapphire, and peridot. Foods and herbs. You have lemon, banana, pineapple, and squash, sunflower, dandelion, rice, oats, quinoa, and flax, milk thistle, ginger, turmeric, mint, lemon balm, and fennel. Beautiful, beautiful teas. And then a couple of strategies. Meditate to 528 hertz. You guys can also do guided meditations. You can do inner fire breathing activations like the fire of breath, or you can do cobra in yoga. And then exercise in general is really good at opening up the solar plexus, getting that self-esteem flowing. Mindful eating, doing detoxes as well as different diets that support, whole foods and supportive nutrition. And then another great practice is mirror work as well. So you can practice in the mirror doing breath work and releasing past judgments, speaking positive affirmations to yourself, and just really deepening that engagement and connection with the way you identify with your own self. Now I'll give you guys an affirmation to close out on this education. And the affirmation goes by, I am strong, capable, and birthed with the inner power to overcome obstacles and times of uncertainty in my life. I'll say that one more time. If you guys would like to repeat it, feel free. But it goes like, I am strong, capable, and birthed with the inner power to overcome obstacles and times of uncertainty in my life. Ashe. And of course, you guys can use that anytime. And if you'd like to build your own off of that, you always have that creative freedom as well. And just remember the power of affirmations, but also don't depend on affirmations and be like, oh, well, I said this 5 times. Why isn't this manifesting? It's a process. You got your whole system. You got to reconfigure a whole entire mind, body, emotion system from the programming that it already has. So sometimes it's just about building consistency, taking some time with it, and just staying consistent with routine. Just like Bruce Lee talks about, the great, wonderful Bruce Lee. He talks about how he doesn't fear someone that does something extremely one time and never again. He fears a person that does a little bit consistently over time. Because if you're doing a little bit consistently, instead of one time going to the extreme and then never again, you're more likely to be reprogrammed and reconfigured to the thing that you're consistent with. Because if you understand the multidimensionality of the human being and how it assimilates, you understand that we are made off of patterns, consistency, habitual experiences. So the more that we have something, the more that we are consistent of a programming, the more that we are taking action habitually, then we are bound to pattern and reconfigure and morphogenicize into that embodiment. And if you don't think that's true, just look at life as a whole. There's literally so many cliches about it. You're the sum of the 5 things that are in your environment the most. Things of that nature. All stems to this type of teaching. All right. So that'll do it for our deep education of the solar as a chakra. Now we're going to go ahead and move into our second half of this wonderful live. And we're going to bring on our divine sister, Phinix Returns, out in co-star.
as she's going to give us the gene key breakdown, as well as any other wisdom and stories along this energy center. So as we transition, I have a 3-minute video for us. This 3-minute video is about one of the wonderful beings of our universe, and that is Siddhartha, the Gautama Buddha, who is a great example and illuminator of the yellow ray, this yellow frequency. And his story, being Siddhartha, born into richness, born into greatness of material, and then choosing out of his own spirit walk to go sit under the Bodhi tree, to strip himself of all of his attachments and addictions and things that he believed that he needed as a human, to ultimately find the Buddha within. Be first world. So
down through history, there have been special people who stand out because they were inspiring. They challenged beliefs, had new ideas, and sometimes even changed the world. One of those people is the Buddha, and here's a quick portrait of his life. The Buddha was born about 2,500 years ago as Prince Siddhartha Gautama in what is now Nepal, where his father ruled the Shakya clan. A wise man made a prophecy at his birth. Siddhartha would become a king or a holy man. So his father decreed that Siddhartha should live in luxury within the palace grounds and be made ready to succeed him as king, and definitely not become a holy man. When Siddhartha was 29, he left the palace without a royal entourage for the very first time. He saw an old man, a sick man, and a dead man, and realised that he could not escape suffering. But then he saw a holy man, who seemed to be at peace, and Siddhartha wanted to be just like him. Prince Siddhartha went to live in a forest with a group of holy men, who believed that if their bodies suffered, their minds would be set free. Siddhartha starved himself for years, but still didn't find the peace he was looking for. He tried both luxury and suffering, so he decided there had to be a middle way. He sat beneath a Bodhi tree and meditated for 49 days until finally he was enlightened with 4 noble truths. Life is full of suffering. Suffering is caused by wanting the wrong things or wanting to hang on to things that don't matter. The way to stop suffering is to let go of the wrong things and the things that don't matter. The way to let go of these things is to follow the middle way. With this enlightenment, Siddhartha had become the Buddha, the awakened one. He spent the rest of his life travelling and teaching the middle way, and his words, known as the Dhamma, are still used today. At the age of 80, the Buddha suddenly became seriously ill from food poisoning. He lay down in a grove of trees and peacefully passed away. Buddhists believe that after death, they might be reborn in a new body, but the Buddha achieved nirvana, or release from this world, and was not reborn. The Buddha's last words were, "All things must pass. Strive on with care."
The wonderful Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. Welcome, sister.
I'm just coming all out today. This is not, I don't usually like to show off too much, but Eduardo made me this this crown of flowers.
Oh my gosh. I love
We're
this.
bringing in the yellow vibes again. We got all the flowers of Costa Rica. We've got some These ones are called the golden trumpets. The angels are sounding their trumpets.
Ooh,
These ones here smell like so sweet honey, but
damn.
unfortunately they're not for teas. And sometimes the bees have been coming to me, so you might see bees on the camera at some point.
Oh man, so much medicine in this space right now.
Yeah, color as a medicine, you know, and I'm not even trying on the other
Beautiful.
front. Like I'm drinking a banana smoothie, which is a part of my regular day. We have a lot of bananas that naturally grow around here. And then I stopped drinking coffee not too long ago.
Mhm.
And so to help me get my fix, I use the coffee pot to make tea. And we use like lemons fresh from that grow around us. We use a lot of the nature where we can, what's naturally growing around
Mm.
us, and have a very simple diet, which we're kind of bringing up quite a bit about the digestion and the change in the food. And so I drink a lot of tea that's just with like lemon peel and lemon and yeah, just a natural constant, always on a natural constant detox, which is why we like to invite people to come and stay with us a while so we can introduce them to new simple ways of living that are very normal for us, but maybe naturally detoxing for others. Thanks. Oh, okay. Papa can help with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, beautiful outfit. I
So
mean, just the colors, the energy. Thank you for bringing it.
thank you. It's challenging actually, like this whole week, finding something for the root for red, something for the sacral orange, and something for the solar plexus yellow. I was realizing I don't really contain many of those colors in my spectrum. I think more in the blues, greens, and yeah, so it's been fun to color as a medicine. Actually, color therapy is real, and I know there's a lot coming out about infrared therapies, which I've never been attracted to. I think more in the blues, but to each their own. I understand that each color has their purpose and their reason, but yeah, that's one of the ways that we start to shift our reality. And then we can't deny the connection of the solar plexus with the solar frequencies, with the solar rays, with the sun. And our sun is not out so much today, but it is always my intent that that is one of the foods I eat, you know, is just sitting in the sun and receiving the rays and allowing my eyes and my body to digest the sun and to really rewrite such a criminal act, actually, that we've been so afraid of the sun and feel we need to protect ourselves from the sun. When I first came to Costa Rica 8 years ago, I was still wearing my Ray-Ban aviators and I put sunblock on and I haven't put sunblock on in years and I don't wear any kind of glass. I never cover my eyes, but that's just me. That's just been like the evolution of returning to nature, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned a lot about sunglasses. I stopped wearing sunglasses a few years ago, especially learning about just how, like, number one, the chemical compounds of the sunglasses with the heat rays brings that, like, unhealthy microchemicals that can then start, getting into your bloodstream and getting into your face and all that stuff. And then just the unnaturalness of the mirrors that they have, in between your organic body and the sun, and how that can just conduct very, artificial and inorganic spectrums into your eyes. And that can actually cause damage to the eyes. And that's actually like a common known science now. If you guys do a little research about
The
sunglasses and
incense.
how they can damage your eyes because of the sun rays bouncing off of the mirrors and then that going into your eyes literally, and how that can damage the natural strength and the natural power of what your eyes have in relationship to the sun. Just like sunblock too, like sunblock, holy smokes, the chemicals in that, and then when you understand biological warfare and you understand that when you're putting these chemicals and metals and toxins into your bloodstream and into your cells, it's actually then giving more reason for the sun to create damage on your body, because it's not that it's naturally just damaging your body by itself. It's that it's reacting to the chemicals and the metals and toxins that you are putting inside of your body. And that's reacting and causing problems with your skin. It's not that your natural organic human body is allergic to the sun or something. It's because it depends on the chemicals and the type of metals and frequencies that are inside of your field and the way that they react to the rays and the microwaves and the radio waves that are being pounced onto our energy field. So that's why you'll probably hear it in every chakra episode. Detox yourself. Because when your vessel is alkaline, your vessel is clear, you're not able to absorb, you're not able to have the compounds inside of you that cause negative reactions to these different waves of light and sound in this universe that we're in. And remember, everything is light and sound. So if you don't understand the light and sound spectrum of ourselves, that can keep us very susceptible to these micro level manipulations.
Yeah, it starts with what we put into our own body, what we do with our own body. Like, I know, like, sometimes we can talk about chemtrails and vaccines, and I mean, trust me, we should be very aware of everything that's out there, and we should also be aware of, like, where does it start? It starts at home with you, with every single thing that you put on yourself. And your epidermis, this skin, it's no different to put something on it topically than to ingest or drink it. And so most, unfortunately, it's sad but true, most of what is out there is poisonous to us. And so we have to pick our poisons. And this is a really important topic for us as we become more responsible with our own health, and more responsible as, like, what yesterday we were talking about, what are you consenting to? And I like to speak on food with no barcodes. You know, I'm maybe to the extreme level where I haven't eaten meat in many, many years. And for the most part, except like a bag of rice sometimes or a bag of lentils, we're working with whole foods. You know, it's like, but it's things without a package, things without a barcode, things that have not been processed, things that are their original ingredients with no processing. And so that's been a really big shift. I understand, coming from the United States, you know, that's not so easy. And now you can be just like, even when you think you're eating good, healthy, organic, it's all just programming, and it's all just marketing, because unfortunately capitalism has been more important than health. And so this is the important part that we're coming into, is our own self-awareness about taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves. And you know, the core wound of Sacred Seal number 3 is shame. And it's healing the wound of shame. And for a lot of people, they have shame around their body, shame around how they look, shame around how they feel. And then, of course, shame around their desires, or things that they've done in their life, or things that have happened with them. And so, yeah, the invitation here is, it's so beyond the idea of just doing a diet to look better. It's really about nourishing your body and loving your body back to life. And fasting is such a key to everything. And you want to get biblical about something, pull that one in, pull in fasting and prayer. That is the answer to any and everything. Get to that 0 point, get to that base. You want to face your demons, don't eat for 3 to 5 days. That's how demons will flee, because we feed them with our food and our emotions. And when we start to become more self-aware about what we're feeding and what we're putting into our bodies, you know, in 5 days of dry fasting, you can starve parasites. And you will have to face, of course, all of the parasites within you. Some are psychic, mental, emotional, physical, saying, feed me, feed me, feed me food, feed me porn, feed me TV, feed me pharmaceuticals. You know, they're hungry. I say hungry ghosts need a host. But one of the real big keys to actually unlocking the seals and activating something far beyond a 7-base chakra system is the way that we're treating our body and the way that we're eating. So when I bring this topic, it's no guilt or shame. I understand where we all come from. It wasn't so long ago that I was just chowing down and eating it all. And then it took me some time, you know, but I started to listen. I started to listen to myself. I started to listen to my body. And I started to know, like, even when I was being called to stop eating meat, I was like, I mean, all the thoughts in my mind were like, that's going to be hard. That's going to be challenging. How am I going to do that? And oh, what if I lose my, you know, what if my iron goes low? What if I don't even think about stuff like that? I don't need to get vitamins or supplements for myself. As we come into the solar Christ consciousness, you know, there are people out there that are breatharians. There are people out there that are fruitarians. And so I'm not saying that anyone needs to go to that extreme, but to give ourselves a reset, you know, to be able to give ourselves some time where we just kind of like baseline. And people are like, you're fasting, you could die. And I'm like, you could die from eating poisonous food all day, every day. Like, we have to really think about, I mean, there's so much. Right now we're going through the realization of the reversal. Just like we were talking about the sunblock and the sunglasses, the things we thought we needed to protect ourselves are actually the opposite. Just like vaccinations, just like medications, we thought they were there to get us healthy and to help us. But we should be able to look at, you know, the baseline of like what's going on in the world right now and recognize, like, okay, all the medicines are there, all the sunblocks are there, people are still getting cancer, so there's something else. We got to flip this thing, we got to reverse this thing. And really, this is the invitation to come into right relationship with your mind, body, and soul, and to become your own healer. And it doesn't mean that there aren't great guides along the way, along the path. I'm one of them. I'm very passionate about spending time with people that are really looking to make shifts and changes and leaps in their life and to improve their mind, body, spirit on the path of ascension, to really bring the Christ Ascension teachings into this physical reality and to understand it a little more, how to work with our bodies and our frequencies. So yeah, the solar plexus, that's where we're at. And you know, I have this tool, my friend Adama Hollow from London, he came to visit me one time and he brought me this tool, and it's 528. And it's a super fun one that I use when I'm working with people sometimes. You know, it's just like a little ding. And so it's fun that it's like a rod like this, because I can like go all the way around. I usually work with the crown and then work all up and down the body. And then it's got this little circle part here where I can kind of make a little beat with it. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Yeah, this is one of my fun little tools I like to play with. And it's so, you know what else is fun? You know, introducing this type of information to the older generations, you know, I would say. Like, I have a neighbor, she's 82 years old. You know, I live in Costa Rica. It's a very Catholic country. Everybody goes to church and that sort of thing. And there are a lot of people that work with the witchery here in this country. But anyways, you know, we understood she has a lot of pain in her body and she goes to the doctor and she takes medications and things like that. But we just built a relationship with her. Eduardo, my love, is from Costa Rica, so he's my translator. I'm still not that great in Spanish. But, you know, we invited her over. And we've just been doing the old school way of like laying hands on people, and using sound and using essential oils and talking to her about healing her body and cutting certain things out of her diet, and in giving our love and our connection and just being there to listen to her as she shares her stories of growing up and basically being a slave on a farm, you know, and many people in Costa Rica have had those types of histories where they've been, you know, they've worked very, very hard their whole lives. Even now, you know, the average Costa Rican that's cleaning a house or even working in construction is making about $4 an hour. It's just crazy, truly. And they're just so devoted to their work. And there's a lot of big money coming here, but like there's an imbalance in the poverty and the wealth, you know. It's unfortunate. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. I get upset about it sometimes. I mean, I've learned not to get upset. Like, I've learned how to find permanent peace within my physical structure at all times. There might be things that I start to feel passionate about, but you know, just with that Buddha video, and they're talking about like sitting under the tree for 49 days. Like, if that's what you need to go do, go ahead and do it. But what we're calling in right now are the Buddhas or the Christos of the real day. No longer do we need to sit in a cave and hide out in the forest to hold the frequency. We do want to remember how to hold that frequency, how to hold that peace, how to end that suffering, which is ultimately, how do you end suffering? What did he talk about? Suffering has to do with desiring things that aren't necessarily what you really need. And that's been a big practice of mine in this reality, is learning how to flow and to surrender. And the biggest teaching for me in living in the forest has been, listen to this bird talking. Bird medicine. It's been for me when I came to Costa Rica and all of a sudden I didn't have restaurants around and I couldn't just order an Uber Eats and I couldn't just go to the store whenever I want and get all the things that I'm used to. It forced me into eating fruits and vegetables and the natural, clean, pure foods that were around me. My only other alternatives were to go into stores that had a lot of processed and packaged things. So it felt like suffering in the beginning. Fasting feels like suffering for a lot of people because we have attachments. And it's not easy all the it's like, but I'll tell you, you get over that hump about 5 days and you're like, holy shit, I feel so much energy. You know, you might also have your cravings and you're just ready to go right back to your old world. But you do get over this hump of challenge and you're just like, whoa, I have more energy. I'm sleeping better. I feel better. Oh, my bones aren't hurting. Like, those are the benefits of fasting. If anybody can actually like persist through the challenge or the perceived suffering, you know, to get over the hump, so to speak. You look paused there, Marcus. I don't know if you are paused. Oh, there you are. It was frozen for a minute.
I'm here. Yeah. Technology's trying to keep up. But wow, such beautiful wisdom. And I love the discussions that you're bringing up because, you know, and it's so funny that I'm able to like, it's so funny I'm able to extract examples from the Bible, even though I'm someone that's never been religious. I have never read the whole Bible, and I don't even see myself as a follower. So it's like, I just find it funny that I'm still able to see the wisdom and intuitively connect with certain things directly from Yeshua. And I think about, you know, when he's talking about when he's talking about describing Satan, and when he's talking about being out in the desert and being isolated by himself, and how he's having these interactions with Satan. So from an esoteric and a inner perspective of this symbolic wisdom, you know, this is Yeshua talking about his lower ego, basically. It's him talking about his addictions, his attachments. It's very similar to Gautama Buddha when you think about sitting by the Bodhi tree It's just a different context of the stripping of the lower identities, the lower ego in Ascension Glossary context that Lisa Renee talks about. You know, it's the unconscious parts of yourself. It's the parts that can manifest and turn into greed. It's the parts that can turn into desperation. It's the parts that turn into needing to control because we feel disempowered. So for anyone that does like to go into scripture, and again, scripture is not even my main context, but anyone that does like scripture, you know, you can go in there and you can read upon and reflect upon that story where Yeshua is talking about speaking to Satan out in the desert, fasting, stripping himself away, tired, things of that nature. And ultimately, what he means by Satan, at least in my context that I resonate with, is it's talking about the lower nature, the negative, quote unquote, ego aspects of oneself, as in all of us. And we all go through this type of journey where we are having to kind of counsel. See, I don't want to say battle, because I feel like battle brings division, and battle brings this like separation of like needing to clash, you know, with light and dark, so to say. For me, it's like it's going through the process of integration. It's shadow work. No, it's sitting with oneself and just allowing yourself to observe and then make conscious choices with the triggers, with the aspects of one's consciousness that arise in the moment that they arise. And then, you know, Satan's just like a symbolic terminology of basically the unconscious parts of yourself. So your Christ self. Christ is limited. You realize you're whole. You realize you're connected to source, and that all is connected to source, embodiment self. And then being in this third dimensional human vessel, you're subjected to going through the experiences of a third dimension, which brings density. And then through that density can come ignorance, forgetfulness, and things of that nature, which then can assimilate the experiences of what we call Satan, which is the unconscious forgetting part that you are fully connected to the source of all life. And this is a divine design. You can also go read the book, The Divine Design, as well, which is another multi-dimensional book, just like the raw material, where it's basically just describing the matrix that we're in, this creation process, and that there's different dimensions. Different dimensions hold different levels of polarity, and the lower in the density, then the more polarity at play. The higher up you go in the density, and the necessary polarity. And Lisa Renee breaks this all down when she talks about the time matrix, and then you can find charts about time matrix and out there and research and see how this all resonates for you. And as usual, if it resonates, it doesn't. If it does, it does. But these are kind of like the correlations and the parallels I've been able to see throughout my journey, my life, of how this becomes that inner experience through the symbolic nature of these teachings, these scriptures, and these things that are outside of us. And if you're someone that does like to study like Ascended Master rays, the rays of light, Gautama Buddha, as well as Yeshua are both known as guardians or keepers of the yellow ray as well. That path of inner illumination and continuing to climb the ladder of self-realization while being in the human vessel. And what that means to, as Yeshua says, be in the world but not of it.
I love the 40-day, 40-night fasting scripture, and basically, it goes through the fasting Christ in the desert. One of my favorite art images is by Nicholas Roerich, Christ in the Desert. It's so beautiful art. He's a great artist. For anyone that wants to look him up, Nicholas Roerich, Roerich. He was Russian. But anyways, he gets tempted. The temptations are simple. He's tempted with food. He's tempted with the woman. He's tempted with the power and reign over a kingdom. Like, these are the basics. And so I see like the death, rebirth, and resurrection, as the death to the lower self and the idea of maintaining this lower nature. And as you come into the resurrection and you shine a light on these higher states of awareness, there are times where the lower states want to bring you back down. It's kind of like if you had an addiction to alcohol, but you stopped drinking and you're feeling great. You're breaking out, like you're feeling good, you're rising high, but then you've got like either your own thoughts and temptations or even the outer world around you and your old framework of friends and family that are like, come back. And you're like, no, I am resurrected. I'm resurrecting myself. I'm ascending out of these dimensions. And so that's your own flex, that's your own muscle that you've got to work with. And it does help me, when these temptations come, he says, get behind me, Satan, right? But also I like to observe things like entities, parasites, possessions. I believe they are real. I have seen them. A lot of times you don't even really realize that you have them. It's like an entity, or let's say a persona that's sitting inside you that's driving your starship or trying to control your starship to do certain things. Now you got to own it as your own. You've got to take control of your full source and the course of your life. But it can make it easier when you start to realize like, oh, and I help so many people that have shared with me their addiction to pornography, where I'm like, I want you to imagine when you get that impulse that there is literally an entity sitting inside you that wants to use your body to ride your orgasm. Just imagine it for a minute. There's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no judgment about it, but I want you to imagine, who is that's driving that impulse? Is that your impulse? And so as soon as you start to like objectify it, it can help you maybe override the desire and be like, that's not me. I'm not feeding that today, whether that be with food or with an activity, with an addiction. And let's not forget, we're in the mental plane right now. See, some people have externalized their addictions and their temptations, whereas a lot of people just have addiction to their thinking, addiction to their thoughts and their patterns, just keeping alive the same old thought patterns over and over and over again, which will manifest the same things. Who is the one? You must be the one that decides when you're done receiving a certain pattern of thoughts. Oh, wow. Sounds like a tree fell as I said that. So you must be the one to be able to observe and witness that. And, entities, sometimes you can think of them as these like googly googies, Satanists, whatever looking things, but an entity is a thought form. That's the easiest way to say that. And so when you think about it, you can say like, what are the entities in my mind? What are the thought forms? I heard the tree fall, yeah. You have to, you do an inventory within your mind and you're like, who is that speaking to me? And do I want to maintain that thought? And do I want to keep feeding that thought? And do I want to believe that thought? And do I want to respond to that thought? And how can I identify any thought forms within myself that I can literally, because we are rewriting code, we are code, where we can extract entities, where we can remove something that is no longer serving us. It's like corruption in the code. Anyone that knows coding and does code, sometimes there's a little corruption in the code. We can bring it to that level to start to realize, like, oh, where's the corruption in my code that keeps me maintaining this lifestyle, this desire, this behavior. And once you can identify it like that, it's not even about, I mean, you could trace it back to the idea of like healing an inner child and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, isn't his work beautiful? I love it. He has so much beautiful art. If you're into art, William Blake, and you can see, look, you can see Satan just chilling over there, his, you know, his shadow self, whatever you want to call it, right? But he's like, bitch, I'm free.
I love it.
You know, his colors, this is early 1900s. But the way his color spectrum and the way he does his art, it's very psychedelic actually for me. I mean, he just has tons of it. Like you can look up Mother of the World, Christ in the Desert. He has millions of different arts with Buddhas and everything. He's my favorite, one of my favorite artists, him and William Blake. But yeah, the pictures can tell so much, and they really are beautiful pieces of art.
I love what you were saying
Yeah.
too. I just want to add real quick, you know, that as within, like so without type of aspect, which Yeshua loves teaching as well, is you know, the inner is the outer, all that type of stuff. And in order to embody heaven, then you got to understand that, you know, the inner is the outer, the above is the below, the male is the female, and the female is the male. But what I wanted to talk about here was, I love that you also bring up entities, because I'm also someone that has a real deep understanding of entities as well. And when you understand like the inner self and the outer self, it's like this interconnectedness of like the inner parts of yourself that are kind of like not addressed, so to say, the wounds, the traumas, the parts that can cause the unconsciousness or the ignorance of oneself. That's like the inner formula that kind of attracts and allows the manifestation of the outer to be present in the field as well at the same time. So it's like this like parallel sequence that happens at the same time of, okay, something within me is vibrating at that frequency. And now that vibration that's within my auric field is now magnetizing and attracting a actually divinely created entity, because that's what this whole creation and polarity system is about. It allows it to have its own free will experience to be able to interact with my field in the ways that it was created within the limitations of itself to do. So I love that, because, you know, part of like when you work with doing psychic surgery, entity removal, the terminologies that people like to use, you come into that understanding that, okay, yes, there is an entity that is in this person's field, but what is the root cause coming from the layers of their auric field that is allowing this entity to be able to manifest into this field? And I love that you brought that up, because you can see it as those type of ways. You can see it as, you know, that inner aspect, and then also the entities as well. And just seeing the correlation of that is such a beautiful thing. And it makes a lot of sense too when it comes to these teachings that we're covering right now, and why it does take doing things like what Yeshua did in order to really embody and be that example that he was for all of us.
Yeah,
Because
this
it's
is a
like,
big
you know,
topic,
the
right?
fasting, the detoxing, it really, you know, it strips that all away. So when you do that fasting and detoxing, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, then you are literally empowering yourself. You're standing on the peak of that mountain, just like he is in this image. And you're just holding that, and you're letting the rest fall away, so it can no longer basically exist in your field.
This is the real work, the real meditation,
Now, if we do that as a
and the only
collective,
meditation that matters.
yep. And then when we do that as a collective, then that's going to be our collective body. You know, what happens individually, we also then do collectively. So the more of us that do this individually, the more our collective body is going to naturally change simultaneously. Simultaneous too, like literally exactly in synchronicity.
Yeah, it's the real work we came to do. It's in the blink of an eye. We appreciate everyone and honor everyone who's been willing to lay down their lives, lay down their lower nature to do this real work, to hold the field, to embody these frequencies, to empower yourself, to be your own liberator, to be your own healer. That is exactly what the Christ was showing in the idea of these teachings, going into someone who did have demons and telling them you are free, but they have to believe it themselves. It's not him that did it. And I will say, like, I've had direct experiences where I've been in a position to maybe cast out a demon, so to speak, and working with someone in that space and seeing something that did feel like a black snake or a black dragon type of entity working through someone's body. And I had a particular protocol that I was called into. I had to ask them if this was normal. I had to ask them if this was them. And I had to ask them if they wanted this in them. And so once they gave me the consent, then I went into my next level of work. And it literally was warfare. And I was willing to, on behalf of this person, and there was actual physical, like, you know, foaming at the mouth and the vomiting and all of the things, the battle, so to speak. But I came back, when we were able to resurrect from that wild experience, what I told her was this: that thing's been in there a long time, and it's not gone forever if you feed it again. There is still an open wound there. There is still a gaping hole there. And it will be hungry again for your emotion, for your depression, for your addiction, you know, for your shadows. That's why I always say the hungry ghost needs a host. And how does a hungry ghost, you could say a demon or an entity, find a host? Wherever your shadows are. Wherever your shadows are. And what are shadows? It's what you don't want people to know about you. I had someone tell me one time, I'm addicted, where he said, I am possessed by Vatita. And I was like, he brought this to me. This was an online engagement, you know? And I said, free yourself from this possession. This is what the Christ would do. This is what Mary Magdalene would do. I said, free yourself from this possession. And he said, how? And I said, come clean about anything that you've ever done and that's ever been done to you, and bring all your darkness to the light. And he confessed to me dark things that he had done to his own children through alcohol, things that had happened to him. He brought it out into the open. There was no more shame there. Like that's the hardest part. And the challenge is when you have shame and guilt around the shadow, and you don't have a safe place to bring it up, to bring it out, to be witnessed, seen, felt, and heard. And so that is part of the opening up of the space. And see, we have to empower ourselves that we are the ones for ourselves, and we are the only ones that can do this. But we also have to understand, listen to that bird song. I love it. Wow. Yeah, you know, we have to empower ourselves to do the work. And also I understand the role of space holders. That's why if and when I'm working, we don't have to work in the psychedelic field, but if and when I am working in that field, what is happening is that I'm just holding space for someone to be able to tell me everything. We're just having engaged conversation and interaction. I'm not doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not saying a whole bunch of stuff. We're just opening up the space for them to feel safe to talk about whatever they want to talk about and lay down whatever they want to lay down. and then to move on and let go of those things. So yeah, I didn't know we'd get on this topic, but that's also like when you think about possession or ego or the idea of like not being your full, true, authentic self, you're looking at identifying what is getting in the way from being your true, authentic self. And that is something that we're really being called into in a world of artificial right now. Sometimes I'm a little disappointed where I see someone online and they're looking great and it sounds like they do all these things, and then you meet them in person and you're like, oh, you're not who you're pretending to be out there. You know, and that's real for all of us. We need to get really real about that. You better be the same person when I meet you in person. I'm telling you that. I don't hide shit. Whatever you see here is how I am in the person with you all day, every day. That's how I live. I'm wide open. I'm full, authentic. Everything's a ceremony. But I will tell you, I'm disappointed sometimes when I feel what I see.
I will definitely
Huh? Yeah.
I was just saying, I'll definitely contest to that.
And I want to say too, like, I'm not trying to be all out there and crazy like I am today with this hat, but when you get adorned with flowers by your divine masculine, you rock them. You know, I'm not here to take up space and be the flower in the room, but there is room for everybody at the table of the humble, noble kings and queens. And that is what I'm calling in. And that is actually, so now this is a segue to sacred seal number 3, because it has to do with shame and self-worth and competition and like how we ever start to come together. There has to be a level of like your personal ego importance has to go away for us to be able to come together in kindness and harmony and balance, where there's not just one star. I make room for 1 million stars. I want to see 1 million masters at the table. We need that. We need 1 million masters at the table. Now, the trick of the so-called master is when they think they're the master and they're the only master. And so we need as many ascended beings as possible on our planet in this moment in time. And so it seems I've been put in a position to kind of call out where those things come in, where it's like, I know you got it, I know you know it, and you're still missing some ding, ding, ding. Like, let's humble thyself, let's get into that space. We need to unite the tribes here. There's some work to do. There's some things to let go of. There's some things to clean. There's room for everybody at the table. Room for everybody at the table. So these are council meetings. And that's usually when I'm working with someone, that's all it is. It's a council meeting. It's inviting, it's congratulating and honoring each and every person for the work they've done. There's no hierarchy. There's no boss. You know, it's equal table, equal court. It's the synarchy, which is gene key 44. So I'm going to read you this opening of the 3rd seal, which is connected to gene key 25. Gene key 25 is called the myth of the sacred wound, which I also connect to the chalice. It talks about the chalice and the well, and talks about the holy love. The programming partner of the 25, which is called universal love, is ecstasy, gene key 46. And so the shadow of the 25 is constriction. It has to do with the physical physiology of the heart, right? And then its programming partner, the 46 in ecstasy, has to do with the physiology of the blood. So we're talking about blood pumping to the heart. We're talking about the shadows of seriousness and constriction. So we can ask ourselves, you know, where am I living a serious constricted life? Where is my heart not open? You can have a heart attack from that, you know? It's always about keeping your heart open no matter what. Keep your heart open, keep your heart open. That's how we grow. That's how we expand. And how do we do it? By the way of the gift of acceptance. You heal your constriction in your heart, number 1, by identifying it there. Number 2, by coming into a path of acceptance. Acceptance allows us to move up the frequency field into more of an open heart so that we can see bigger, open up, understand the bigger picture, openness. And then the city is universal love. So here's the opening of the 3rd seal of universal love. The 3rd seal is opened through the 25th city of universal love. This is one of the most pervasive forms of divine grace. And as it reaches down into human beings, it triggers a huge wave of release that can spread from person to person like a positive virus. This seal heals the human wound of shame. Shame is brought about by a profound feeling of worthlessness. It is out of this feeling of deep shame that the whole world of hierarchy and competitiveness has come about. As the city of universal love descends into humanity, our urge to escape through our own shame, through selfishness and greed, gives way to feelings of great joy and self-love. So escaping our shame through selfishness and greed. It is this self-love that leads us to altruism and philanthropy rather than competition. Shame is obsessed with hiding, but universal love shows you no matter where you hide, love is still there. It's through the opening of this third seal that you finally begin to enjoy life for what it is, rather than always chasing some ideal future. As humanity experiences this opening, it will lead to a complete breakthrough in the way we use money and a final ending to human greed. And so that's what we're talking about when I say like opening up the cord and bringing all the people in where there's no level of shame, there's no level of worthlessness, there's no level of selfishness, there's no level of competition. That's what we're calling in, that's what we're bringing in order to serve humanity in this next level that we're being called to. And so I see big things happening as the 7 seals are unlocking, as we unlock them within ourselves on an individual level so that we can start to come together for the communion and synergize and come into great service for planetary solutions. As the world is burning up and running out of water, it's time real quick to get clear, to get clean, to contribute to the raising of the frequency of our planet. And it starts with each individuated self, finding that peace, that love, that harmony, that freedom within, so that we can come together and interact as humans. And it's interesting because technology has pulled us even further from actual human connection. So again, you can look like this or that on a computer level, on a level of like whatever your Facebook profiles or Instagrams are looking like. But it's really about when you get into space with human beings, can you interact with them? Can you connect with them? Can you flow with them? Can you take that chip off your shoulder? Can you humble yourself? Can you see the divine in everyone? Can you see the master in everyone? How do we bring the many masters together? And that's how we move beyond hierarchies. And we're the ones that are being called to do this work. And it has to do with the gifts of synergy and teamwork, which are gene key 44 and 45. This is prophecy and this is written. So I've been speaking this vision for a very long period of time over the last 8 years. And we're just taking our time. We understand we're in the future, we're time travelers, but awaiting the ones that are ready to arrive and do, that's that final laying down of the important individual to come into the group to serve something bigger than ourselves. And it's law of one all the way. So yeah, that's the third seal. Yeah, that's the third seal. Healing that wound of shame within yourself, healing that competition, healing that that worthlessness. And you know what I'll tell you? I heard this from a Louise Hay's book a long time ago. She was like, if you had a friend sitting next to you that was saying all the shit you say to yourself in your head, would you still be friends with that person? And like, how interesting to say that, because like sometimes I think people have these inner dialogues with themselves that can be like criticizing and abusive, not to others also, but to themselves. And it's like, just for a minute, if you're like, all right, if I had a body sitting here saying the things that I'm saying to myself in here, would I tolerate that? Would I put up with that? Would that be a friend of mine? And so that's another way to really we're in the mental plane. It's our, nobody else knows what's going on inside your head but you. And so we've got to get real with like what is going on in our head. And you can study in the gene keys, your IQ is connected to the mental plane. And so when you look at your gene keys chart, and this is where I love to do gene keys work and do personal one-on-one stuff and just kind of intuitively talk about what's going on, and then like look at the stars and the design. But anyways, it's the IQ has to do with the mental patterns. From 14 to 21 is the age of those mental patterns, and we're rewriting code, rewriting patterns. But a lot of times in doing that deep honest shadow work with the Venus sequence, or just reading that particular code, it can bring you a lot of aha moments about liberating your mind. So yeah, I hope this has been empowering. This is the solar plexus power, empowerment. And I'm not saying you have to just do it alone. We are here to help. That's what the Sacred Kingdom is all about. We all have different gifts and missions. And really, I mean, it's the same mission: liberate humanity, ascend a planet. That's why we pull from the Ascension Glossary. We're here for planetary ascension and planetary liberation. And we want to equip you and empower you with remembering the power that you have to do this work. And we're here to help you with that.
And then the birds.
Mm-hmm. Bird tribe.
Wow. Beautifully said again. Thank you. So I felt called. The spirit of the Libyan desert glass was calling me, and it wants to be shared a little bit for all of you guys, as it is a great solar plexus vibration to work with. So I'm going to read a little bit about the Libyan desert glass, or the Libyan desert gold, that we can call it as well. And this is another wonderful crystal or gemstone that you can work with spiritually. So it's said to be formed out of a large meteoric burst over 28 million years ago, found in Egypt and the Sahara Desert. This rock has been prized since ancient times. Libyan gold is believed to have came from the sky, and the myth goes that it was given to us from angelic or extraterrestrials to help us reconnect to our past, to stop making the same mistakes. The high vibration of the stone encourages the growth of your personal abundance and prosperity. If it is for the highest good, Libyan gold will assist you in your manifestations. It is an excellent tool for the light workers to assist with any kind of spiritual work, meditation, and accessing the Akasha. So it is also known as the Starborn Stone of Manifestation. And then some key points that it has: it can help you with activating confidence in yourself. It is powerful for manifestation, realizing your personal potential, accessing your inner king or queen, aid for the ascension process, reconnect to ancient knowledge, and support spiritual growth and development. And I actually have a piece of desert Libyan glass right here for you guys. If you guys would like to connect with that. And then I actually have a let me grab the pendant.
Yeah, I think I got a piece of it here.
Ah. There you are. Yeah. The good old Libyan glass.
I got this from my boy Andre.
So I also have
Thanks, Andre. Do you have a pendant?
Andre Lyranisto. So this is a little scarab.
Ooh, I love it.
So it's a little scarab pendant, and then it's got a little pyramid where the necklace goes in. Oh, the scarab gang. Uh-oh.
Original
Then
Egyptians
it
up
has
in here. We know.
It's got the Eye of Ra on the back of it too. This was a fully gifted pendant as well. So it wasn't something I seeked or anything like that. This was a gifted piece. That always holds like such a deeper meaning to me whenever it's like so symbolic but then gifted too. It's like, ooh, okay. I feel like I'm like getting an upgrade right now on my journey.
Yeah, it's always fun to see what we were
So
gifted.
yeah, the
this
desert Libyan glass. Great to connect with for that solar plexus.
Awesome. When is the next when's the heart chakra?
Mm-hmm.
These are real computers, real technology, organic technology.
Oh, welcome, Sarah.
What's up, Sarah?
Look at that
Go
beautiful
get you some
headgear.
flowers, queen.
Hey guys, love y'all. Love you too, Sarah.
River made me all these little bouquets. She took
Welcome
little
in,
pieces
everyone.
of copper
Welcome
wire.
in. Oh, it's beautiful out. I'm gonna have to put you guys on the sun for a second. We're gonna go out to the sun. On this solar plexus day, you guys gotta connect with the sun a little bit. So
Go get some solar rays. Oh, he's gonna show us the sun. Might have cut off. He'll be back. He's going to get some solar rays. Solar rays for days. For the solar plexus, plexus solar. Solara. That's a little mantra I made up actually with the sun. Solara. Solara, 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 solara.
all right. That was beautiful. Goosebumps, Sarah said. Got them goosebumps. Alrighty, guys. We're gonna get some of that sun.
Ooh.
There you
Thank you for sharing. Wow.
Boy.
That 84th
Wide
degree
open
that
today.
we're holding, we hold the line of the 84 up and down, north and south. Plasma streams.
They're actually building they're building a little dog park over here. Look, they're building a little dog park over here for the doggos.
And this is Cincinnati, Ohio.
Some nice, beautiful trees. I mean, it's like outside of there. I'm not in the city. I don't live in the city. No city life for me. Beautiful. I like the nature, you know. I like to have the nature around.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I like those flowers. So nice.
This is right outside my window.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, they got a lot of trees over here, though. A lot of beautiful tree spirit. That's one thing I do like about it, with how much buildings there are, is how much trees there are still.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, this is out in the Cincinnati, Ohio area for anyone out there. I do like to collaborate and build community, so don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Come together, come together. There's room for everybody at the table.
There we go. It's cloudy and the sky is
All right, so when do we do the heart chakra? It's on Tuesday?
Yeah, it'll be on Tuesday.
Cool, come join us, wear your green.
Yeah. Sacred Kingdom. I guess this would be a good place
and join
to
us tomorrow. What'd you say?
I was just saying, yeah, this would be a good time to close it out. It's going on 2 hours now, actually. Wow. Funny how that happened.
We're flying. Yeah, I'll be on live tomorrow if anybody wants to come in, 10:44 Eastern, 8:44 Costa Rica. And I'll join Marcus for the heart on Tuesday as well.
Yeah. A lot of good things. Like, honestly, guys, like, at this point, we have a whole community of beautiful souls that just want to share knowledge and wisdom and hold space. So we have stuff almost every day of the week with different members of our Sacred Kingdom community, sharing different tools, different wisdom, different teachings for you to be able to take into your everyday life and just take into your own empowerment and utilize at your own free will, and see if it can create a better space for you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And that's really the goal. That's all we want to do, is just provide opportunities for you guys to be able to acquire knowledge and wisdom and to utilize it at your own free will. And it's all free. So tap in with us. We have a lot of free content, and we just want you guys to be able to have these opportunities. And not just that, but to also connect with us and build with us as a community and really truly be, that unified force, knowing that we are here for each other and we're here for you guys. So we love you guys, and reach out if you have questions, and we're here to help serve and help provide an opportunity to potentially give you a better quality of life in your everyday life. And not just for you, but for your loved ones, and for our children and for the generations to come, because we are the ancestors of today, and generations from now are going to be looking back at us as ancestors one day that were here in these bodies for this time, and they're going to be learning from what we left behind. So how are you going to be the ancestor of the future in this present time? That's my question to you guys as you continue to flow with your solar energy today. And if you haven't yet, please get out into some solar energy directly and allow that sun to purify you, to cleanse you, to detox you, and to charge you up. One love, everyone. Oh, the birds.
It's a perfect send-off. Wow. Law of one. Let's have some fun. See y'all next time.
One love, everyone. And again, we have many opportunities for you guys to connect with us. Tomorrow at 10:44 a.m. Eastern, 944, and that's going to be the Jinkies and Waves with. And then on Saturday we have a Galactic Guidance News Report, and yes, we have an authentic but esoteric galactic news. We're talking about astrology, Jinkies, different things like chakras for the week. That'll be coming out on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then Monday, we got a new series with Amy Fox, where she's going to be talking about feminine, and she's going to be going over different sacred feminine archetypes and different teachings that we can bring into our human life. So a lot of good things, guys, a lot of good things. So to stay in tune, ask questions, subscribe. Please, if you can, just like the comment and just share it to people that you feel like it could really benefit. And we just want to continue to be a ripple and share the wisdom and knowledge that we have. So thank you guys, and reach out with any questions, and take care. You guys can visit our website. You're about to see a little preview for it, thesacredkingdom.com.
Imagine booking a soul session, ordering crystals, and joining a live retreat from your phone. For too long, finding the right healers, the right products, the right community has meant endless searching across scattered corners of the internet. That changes now. The Sacred Kingdom has arrived, an online hub where a worldwide directory of holistic practitioners, readers, life guides, organic makers, musicians, a crystal shop, books, and more are all waiting for you. Book one-on-one sessions, order products, and discover Kingdom members serving locally in your area, all from your fingertips, wherever you are, whenever you're ready. Stay connected to upcoming events and retreats, both online and in person. Tap into a YouTube channel built for real conversation, hands-on holistic learning, and free giveaways. And there's more coming: courses, programs, a holistic recipe book, and the Sacred Kingdom Mystery School Academy mentorship. This is a space built on love, compassion, and the belief that conscious living should be accessible to all walks of life. Visit thesacredkingdom.com, and if you feel called to build from within, email Marcus ChristoLight at marcustut23@gmail.com about joining the Kingdom Council. The kingdom is open.